God, would you please lead us in prayer?
I want to thank you now for this time when we can come and conduct ourselves like Christians and do the town business. I thank you for everyone under the sound of my voice. I thank you for the freedom to come here and petition you in prayer. I thank you for the freedom that we have as a nation. I ask that we bring honor and glory to your name through this meeting. Amen.
Amen. If you would remain standing, and we'll say pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, if you have cell phones, we would appreciate it if you'd either turn them off or mute them for the duration of the meeting. And that includes me. All right. I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. And Lucy, would you call the roll for us, please?
Myrtle. Here. Eugene.
Here.
Mayor Sept.
Here.
Brenda.
Here.
John.
Here.
And Steve.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and review the minutes from the previous meeting, the August meeting.
Mayor Sept called to order the regular meeting of the council at 7 p.m. on May the 13th. Excuse me, it's supposed to be in August the 3rd. August the 12th. I'm going to have to correct my own. It's August the 12th, 2019, in the town hall. The invocation was given by Don Hagel. Pledge of Allegiance was recited by all. The roll call was had. The following persons were present: Mayor Sept, Councilors Myrtle Van Creek, Eugene Pilot, Brenda Love, Steve Brewer, and John King. The minutes from the August, from the July meeting, regular meeting were read, and Brenda Lowe made the motion to accept them as read. They were seconded by Steve Brewer. Motion carried. Financials for July were given. Steve Brewer made motion to accept them as given. Eugene kindly seconded. Motion carried. There was no change on the wire hanging on Ivy Lane. We note that Steve Brewer installed a lockbox by the front door of the town hall. This was at a cost of only $34.45. The mayor is still trying to get someone at Jefferson County Roads and Transportation to help us with maintaining the Jefferson County streets within the town limits. Mayor Sept had no more information on the CD rates. We may table this and pursue getting the grant. Concerning the storm shelter multipurpose building, that is dependent upon the 2020 census, this could take a couple of years if we qualify. An email was read by the clerk from Commissioner Knight's office updating us on the regular storm shelter. Jefferson County Commission funds have been set aside to cover this type of shelter. County line is on the list to get one. Steve Brewer asked if moving Blount County forward funds could be used for a safety project. This consisted of purchasing a machine that checks speed and reads tag plates. Discussion was had, but no decision was made. Mayor Sept instructed the clerk to ask Tyler Culver of landscaping to cut the grass around the welcome sign on the east side of town. Discussions was had about the business license fees. The fees stand. Discussion was had concerning a residential inspector. Mayor Sept suggests we call on Hayden's residential inspector. Mayor Sept gave the council a copy of Blount County subdivision regulations to be reviewed. He suggests we adopt this for the town and county line. This will be voted on at a later meeting. The mayor asked for the council's thoughts on using Alex Smith as our town attorney. Motion was made by Brenda Lowe to ask Attorney Smith to be our attorney. Seconded by John King, and motion carried. The clerk was instructed to send a letter to Attorney Greg Reed releasing him from this position. The street lights were checked by John King and Steve Brewer. Lights 63 and 65 on county line were found to be out. Also, 47 and 21 were flickering on and off. There was no number on the pole in the curve on County Line Road, which this should be number 11. The clerk will place a repair order according to this report. A motion to adjourn was made by Merlin Cleave, seconded by Brenda Lowe. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. Respectfully submitted, Lucy. I do know I've got to correct my date.
Under paragraph 10, it should adopt,
Where did I do it?
adopt the subdivision regulations.
I want to adopt. Okay. I see that. My typo. Okay, it should be.
After the meeting, I want to get that name that you gave me. I've lost it. This pertains to the streets. Okay. Any other corrections or comments on the minutes from the August meeting? All right. Do we have a motion to accept with corrections?
I'll make a motion that we accept with corrections.
Okay. Brenda Lowe made the motion. Eugene Valley seconded. All in favor? All right, unanimous. Motion's carried. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we'll get to the financial reports. And our list of accounts keep getting bigger, longer. All right, first up is the 207 road account. Our beginning balance was $9,396.21. Our ending balance was $10,046.12. All right, next, 4, 5, and 6 road account. Our beginning balance, $8,539.87. Ending balance, $8,682.10. Okay. All right, next is our general fund account. Our beginning balance was $21,767.51. Ending balance is $18,183.22. Okay, our next one will be moving Blount County forward account. beginning balance $13,979.97. Ending balance is $14,509.33. Next is the capital improvements fund. The beginning and ending balance is $11,428.21 That's $11,428.01. All right, then we have two new accounts. Currently, we only have a statement for one of the two that were added for Rebuild Alabama. This is a diesel tax account. We will have one for gasoline and a separate one for diesel tax that we will receive from the state of Alabama as part of the Rebuild Alabama gas tax.
Mr. Mayor, it is done, both of them are done, but that gas tax one didn't drop in time. She didn't finish it in time for it to drop.
Right. So next month we'll have two additional accounts to cover. All right, any questions or comments on the financial reports? All right.
I make a motion we accept as read.
I second.
All right, Steve made the motion, Brenda seconded. All in favor? All right, unanimous, motion's carried. Okay. No reports of standing committees or special committees or reports from officers. Under the old business, how are our street lights? Have they been taken care of?
I hadn't noticed.
I did place the order
Okay. All right.
within the next couple of days, I placed it.
All right, we'll get that. We'll check them out because we still had three that were out. 2, 11, and 18.
And,
All right. Okay. No change with the hanging wire. All right. Storm shelter, multi-purpose building update. Nothing new from Commissioner Knight as far as that goes.
only that the county did designate funds and they put us on a list to get the money. And that's all it is on that.
Okay. All right. We'll have more about that. A storm shelter multi-purpose building a little bit later in the meeting. I did going on to the next item, I did contact Alex Smith and he agreed to be the town attorney. So he will be taking care of us from this point forward. Okay. Now I think did we opened the accounts, but didn't we get the council approval at the last meeting to open these accounts? Or is that something we had that came up afterwards?
It came up in the middle
Okay.
of the month. I just had to.
This is kind of
Forgiveness now, okay?
the cart before the horse here.
That's permission.
But we had to get the accounts open by the end of last month because they were starting to distribute that money and we had to have an account. So we took it upon ourselves to go ahead and open the accounts. And Steve, before we leave, we got some signature cards we got to sign. But as a formality, I need the council's approval to open new accounts for the Rebuild Alabama gasoline and diesel tax.
I make a
Money.
motion, we open new accounts for the gas taxes and diesel tax.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second.
John second.
I'll second.
All right, John seconded. Myrtle made a motion. John seconded. All in favor? All right, unanimous. Motion carried. We have to have that to show the bank that we're authorized to open these accounts. So, that's what that was for. I'm gonna get him yet. All right. Honestly, I did see something.
Yeah, there was an ad, I saw it.
Okay, good.
I'm your witness.
All right. Okay. As I said, Alex has agreed to be our attorney, and a letter was sent to Greg Reed terminating
Yes,
his services. All right. Now back to new business. There was a lawsuit filed against Van Molehill because of some property he was crossing to get to the proposed tire landfill site. He was being sued for trespassing. But the town of County Line and Blount County have been added as defendants in this lawsuit. I just need to make y'all aware of it. I've already turned it over to Alex, and he is taking care of it. I haven't talked to him this week about it, but he says he really didn't think it was anything for us to worry about.
So how did we get involved? By letting
Because somebody's looking for some more money. Or why is Blount County involved with it? You know, why does Blount County get involved? But both Blount County and the town of County Line were added as defendants in this lawsuit brought by Ala West's LLC. But it's for trespassing on their property.
Who are they? I mean, what? Who are
Who's
they?
suing him?
Who's suing?
Ala West is a company, Ala West LLC. They own that timberland. So, just need to make y'all aware of it, that we have been added as defendants. At this point in time, there's nothing for us to do except wait. So,
You can get in trouble doing nothing, can't we?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
So, if anybody would like to review the documents, it's there. Okay. Let's see if I'm getting ahead of myself here. No, not yet. All right, one of the other things, Blount County Commission has sent us a letter requesting, the Blount County Commission would like to request a donation for the support of Blount County Animal Adoption Center. Looking forward to the fiscal year 2020, we ask that you consider a voluntary donation of the same amount we suggested for fiscal year 2019. Our records show that amount to be $516 based on the population at $2 per person. Again, they're using the wrong figures for the population in Blount County. We consider the ongoing cost of animal control a cooperative effort between the county and surrounding municipalities. Therefore, your support is genuinely appreciated. We appreciate your ongoing support in helping us provide these vital services to the citizens of Blount County. If you, and he says, if you may ask any or answer any questions, just please contact him, John Bullard, Administrator for Blount County. Again, they're going on the population of 256. for all of county line, when there's only about 156 in Blount County. So based on that,
How many times has anybody seen the dog catcher in the county?
I didn't think they had one
they don't
anymore.
have, I think they have an animal control officer as part of the sheriff's office.
Yes, I do. a
You don't know
deputy.
where we're at.
But this is the adoption center.
County Road 1, up on County Road 1.
Yeah.
Jim and I carried a dog up there. It was a stray dog out of Green Acres. And it was right back in our neighborhood the next day.
We carried him up there Friday evening, and Monday morning, he was right there in front of the house walking down the street.
Yeah. Well, somebody in the neighborhood went up and got him.
Exactly.
Um,
But according to the neighbor that went and got him, it wasn't his dog.
well, anyway,
When we asked,
does the council want to make a donation? If we base it on 156 people, that'd be $312.
Well, when I called myself, I didn't like the reaction I got. About the animal control
Mhm.
but you said this is the adoption center, right?
Yeah, this is the adoption center. It's where they take all the stray animals and hold them for adoption. No. Again, like I said, it's not an animal control officer. This is just for the facility to house the animals and take care of them.
it's a nice facility. But
It's up to the council on whether or not we make a donation.
Yeah, what'd you say the figure was, three what?
$312. That's based on 156 people.
I think we could do that.
Yeah, I think so, since it's the animal
Okay.
adoptions.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we, send a donation to animal control,
$312.
$312.
Okay. We have a
I'll
motion.
second.
Steve made the motion, Brenda seconded. All in favor? All right, unanimous, motion carried. We'll make a donation to the Animal Control Center for an amount of $312. We need to just jot a quick note that we send with the check that we're basing our donation on the Blount County residents, not the entire. All right. I'm going to, we have Mr. Lee here is a grant writer that has come to give us some information on the possibility of us getting a grant for storm shelters, multi-purpose building, and to try to give us an idea of what the process is like, what has to be done, what would be expected from the town, and to answer your questions. And Mr. Lee, if you don't mind, if you'd step over there, or I'll get just so that I can get it recorded. Just anywhere you want to stand, be fine.
Right here.
Okay. Appreciate you coming today.
Yeah, and I'm not really a grant writer. I write grants, but I'm a city planner by profession. That's
Okay.
my profession. I got into this years ago when I was working as a city planner in the city of Birmingham, and I began work. The city was flooding left and right, all these torrential rains we had, and then left the city to help the city of Tarrant with two large federal grants after they were flooded so badly that wiped out the mobile home park and a lot of residential areas. So that was my very first project. So I've been doing this now for 19 years. So there's a lot of demand for communities wanting these FEMA grants for different projects. Yours would be for a safe room. As far as safe rooms go, I'm working with the town of Tarrant and the city of Kimberly, and we finished up 2 safe room projects for nearby the city of Fultondale. And then we have several more in Tuscaloosa County, including that one. I'll give you a picture of it.
I'll pass it around here.
Probably the largest one in the state. It'll be finished this month. That's we got over $2.7 million. Tuscaloosa Park and Recreation Authority to construct that. The dual use is for a gymnasium, has complete basketball. You'd never think you were in a safe room. But it's designed to serve as a tornado shelter, and you know Tuscaloosa needs that badly, and with a capacity of 1,700 persons. So that's the largest safe room project I've done. So in your case, just by chance, I got a call from Tim Muncie, he does roofing, but for me, he's done home repairs for 2 homes. The last 2 homes I sold, one I sold in July, and he came in and did a lot of improvements to help me get it in shape to sell it. And then back in 2006, I sold a home, and he did the same thing. So he's become a friend of mine, but he's the one that called me when he came out here to look at your roof problems.
Right.
And suggested I contact Lucy, which I did. So here I am, by coincidence. Anyway, I gave you a fact sheet here. Should have
I'll give everybody a copy of it.
What I did, the first thing I did, I checked with the
I got
state.
one.
Everything's done through the state of Alabama Emergency Management System, or Alabama EMA, and they administer these grant programs. And the funds come from FEMA through the state and then to the locality. So I checked with them to see if there are any grant funds available that your town could apply for. There's 2 main programs, the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. He said there are no funds there, but they're just starting this process. It just opened for this pre-disaster mitigation grant program. This is a nationally competitive grant, but just looking at the situation here, I think you would be nationally competitive if you were to submit an application, knowing what I do about these grants and how to make them compete. So the grant program is a 75% grant. It'll pay 75% of the total cost. The total cost is the cost of constructing the safe room. Plus, you have other fees. You have you have to get the land appraised. You're going to have architecture and engineering fees. You're going to have fees for project management, and so you add all that together. The total project is more than just the construction cost. Your Commissioner Knight has arranged for you to receive a prefab steel safe room, which typically run about $100,000. If instead of them buying you, spending that $100,000 on a steel safe room, you sit back here, you can use that money toward the required match, because the match is 25%. In addition, you're allowed the commercial appraised value of 1 acre of land. So in Trafford, we have a project going where it's been on hold for over a year because we're waiting for FEMA approval of the change there. But we had that appraised at $48,000 for the town hall. So I think yours would be a similar appraisal. So let's say it's not 48,000, but it's half of that, even 25,000. With 100,000, that can leverage a $600,000 project. It's 25%. So with that county funds and your land appraisal, and I'll have other things to throw in there to help meet the match. I think you can have a pretty decent sized safe room for, with no money out of pocket is what the goal is. And I've done those before. I've done them for, especially the small towns that don't, like yours, that don't have a whole lot of money to spend. So I've done it for small volunteer fire departments and fire districts out in the country and for smaller towns. And even some cities that could afford to make the match, but we came up with a method to meet it through, they're called in-kind donations. That's where you take the land value, or you can have volunteer labor. We have one in Tuscaloosa County, way out in the country, just a lot of volunteers. And we added up their time spent, so we're able to do that project, 2 of those projects, without any local funds. So that would be the goal here, is to do the project with no money out of pocket. The way to figure this, just what I would do is first I'd work up a budget estimate with the architect, and I have an architect who volunteered to work on the application with me. He's the same architect doing the Kimberly project, the Trafford project, and he's one that designed this mega safe room there for the McDonald Youth Center in Tuscaloosa. And so he and I will be working together. He'd do the schematic drawings and a construction cost estimate that will go in the application. I'll do everything else and put it together. The application is completely online. I'll prepare everything in the application. There's some things where I'll have to get the mayor to sign off on. In the end, I don't hit the submit button, but the mayor will. He'll be able to review it, and he's the one that'll hit the button that submits this, and then it'll go to the state and then to FEMA. And we just wait for FEMA to approve it. So just looking at this, I wanted to come out here just get an idea of what was out here and what I've been to Trafford a lot. I've driven through county line, but I never really looked at it as far as getting a safe room. But I think you have a winner here. What helps are mobile homes within a half-a-mile radius of where the safe room would be. Parkland, we would count that as a park. That would help, because what they look for are what they call vulnerable populations. These are people that can get killed if a tornado comes through, and it's going to be higher probability if you're in a mobile home than if you're in a regular house, and also if you're out in a park, in an open space with no shelter at all. So I think you'd have a very strong application. Just to give you some idea of how I would figure this, let's say you had a 2,500 square foot safe room. These are the numbers we worked outside.
Yeah.
2,500. I'd roughly estimate that 80% of that would be for safety. Count as usable space for safety. That's 2,000 square feet. Okay. There's roughly 5 square feet per person. So 2,000 square foot of usable space could protect up to 400 persons, which was a sizable safe room. I don't know if we want to go that large, but I just wanted to throw those numbers out to give you an idea of how you calculate it. So you take the gross area, 80%, and you divide that by 5, it'll tell you how many people you can fit there. The multi-use, because I know you may want to use it. The prefab ones I don't really like, because you can't use them for anything else. And I've seen them where they just sit there and they're never used. But the multiple use ones are really good for the community, because you're using it year round for something. And I think in your case, you're looking at a new city hall, maybe a community center, a recreation center, meeting place, whatever you.
A deputy stop off.
Right. Yeah, we could.
Deputies.
Whatever you wanted to use it for, it's there.
Substation.
Right. It could be an operations center for the 2 sheriff departments, where they can stop here and operate their law enforcement operations out of this facility. Anyway, the idea to make it strong is to show that within a half a mile, there are vulnerable populations, and I think there are. I drove around quickly. I'm sort of familiar with the area because of the work I did in Trafford. And we would begin, I've already submitted a request to the state of Alabama EMA to open up the application to me. Well, I mean, I still would have to get the mayor's authorization to the final, but I'd be representing you in the application process, and I would not charge, because I think, the way I see it, it's a small town, if it looks like a strong application, I'll volunteer to do it. Because in the end, I'll get paid if it's eventually funded. I was about to retire, and I swore I'd never take on another project. I talked to Lucy there, and I just couldn't refuse doing this one, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. I was hoping to retire when the projects I'm doing now close out, but I'll continue with this one. This handout here tells you a lot of detail you don't really need to know, but you are eligible. And looking at the evaluation, the criteria they use to evaluate these applications, I think you would have a very strong application. Are there any questions? If you want to see some examples of ones that were about 300 to 400, you can go to Fultondale, and we call it the West Fultondale Community Safe Room. It's on, it's right near their fairly new fire station on, what's the name of that road? Walker's Chapel Road, yeah. And then the other one we call the Central Fultondale. It's across Highway 31 where the school is. There's a ball field right there. I think that one's a little bit smaller, but I think one may be 400, one may be 300. But those are in a traditional box design. And then they have their finish on the outside, so they're attractive with brick facing and stuff. One option is to do something like this that they did in Tuscaloosa, and the architect that did that, we had some trouble with the original architect in Kimberly, and he's been replaced, but we're looking for ways to make the most use of the funds that they did have, and the mayor wanted to have at least 100 people, so I said, can you design a dome like that would house 100 people? And he did. So that's our final design there. It'll be a miniature version of that. It's going to be in the city of Kimberly Park, and it will have restrooms. They don't have restrooms in that park. They're going to have a sewage disposal system and electricity, all the utilities extended to this building, and it'll be open to the public. And the dual use there would be as a recreation building or a community center.
Okay.
So it's going to hold, I think, 104 people. Maybe it's 110, something like that. Anyway, if you do that, you get a lot more area for your money than if you do a conventional rectangular building.
Just for information, he's talking about a 2,000-foot building. Measured this. This building is right at 1,100 feet,
About something like that.
about 1,100 square feet for the entire building. That's office, bathrooms in this room.
So I think at least you can go twice this size here, probably even a little bit larger than that. But I would need to work that out. The architect would do the construction.
How many
They run a whole lot
residents?
more per square foot than regular construction, because you have to pour concrete and it's steel reinforced, and you can have openings, but they have to be reinforced with FEMA rated shutters or doors and things, which are very expensive.
Okay.
You can't have
How
glass
many
windows like this.
residents are in Caroline?
The 2010 census was 256 for the entire town, but the half mile does not. The half mile figures that he was referring to are not restricted to county line, but it's everybody within
Yeah.
that half a mile.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so that'd be one of the first things we do is count how many people live within a half a mile and how many mobile homes, how many regular homes, how many businesses and other buildings are in that half-mile radius. So I'll be working with the city clerk on that.
Is the trailer park down there by y'all, is it within a half a mile of here?
As the crow flies.
Yeah, as crow flies, so,
Oh, yeah.
had to look at it, but a half mile,
But it's
out there
in
a little.
county line.
Mhm.
It's in county line.
I mean, what he's gotta submit though is, everything within a half mile.
It doesn't matter if it's in county line or if it's in Crawford or unincorporated, it's all just the half-mile radius we have to do.
Yeah, from the park, basically, if we propose the site would be in the park area here, and a half mile from that point, in all
It won't be from
directions.
the point, it'd be from the property line, or from where, yeah, it could be from the point, from the center of the building approximately.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, if they go down Dean's
2,000.
Ferry to my house, it's probably more than a half a mile.
Well, as a crow flies,
Oh, through Trafford?
yeah,
Okay, you
Yeah,
got
it
by
was
the
just-
railroad track.
it's from here straight to your house, not going down the road,
Oh,
but
okay.
from here to your house. Is
Yeah,
that,
it should.
2,000 feet would house how many?
Well, if you had 2,500 square feet gross area, that's the average. Okay. And then if 20% of that you can't use because it's used for the entryway or for bathrooms or utility mechanical stuff. So if you had 2,000 left over, that it's 5 square feet per person, roughly. That's so that would house 400 people. And the one in Folkdale is, I think, the one on, I think the one next to the fire station is 400 person capacity. So if you wanted to go out there and see what it looks like and what they're using it for. I don't think they've really taken advantage of the multi-use. I don't think they have, but I might be wrong. But if you could talk to the fire department's right next door, you can talk to them and see what they're using it for, but they do make it available.
It would definitely be used out here as a deputy substation, as, you know, town hall, the community would use it.
Yeah, we were talking outside about this. If FEMA uses that 1/2 mile radius, that might be fine if you're in downtown Birmingham, but out in the country, you know they're gonna come. If you had a 400 person capacity safe room, they'll be driving 3, 4, 5 miles to get here.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, we hold that, we let, it's a community thing, but we do a Christmas thing here for the children who are in need at Christmas time, and a bunch of people, you know, we just go together and buy stuff, and the town will donate some money to it, but the town allows us to use this building for that, for the Christmas party for the children.
Mhm.
That also,
Well, he said we could use it as a meeting room or,
can be the meeting room in here, yeah.
As a multipurpose building, we can use it for what the best purpose for the town, whatever that may be. Whether it's town hall, share it with town hall, a portion for town hall, the rest of it community center, you know, however we design it, basically. We will have input into the design.
Definitely, yeah.
So-
The design process will go through. He'll put together a schematic drawing, just a concept drawing for the purpose of the application, but then when the grant comes, he'll put together a final schematic drawings with different options, and then you go through the design process until you get it ready to bid out.
From the time the application is submitted, how long will it take before we know anything, or before we find out whether or not we're going to?
Alright. There's no predicting how quickly FEMA moves, right, because of the recent hurricanes. So that slowed things down. And then, but anything can slow down the process, so it's hard to predict. It could take over a year.
Okay.
I've seen them take 6 months. I've seen them take 2 years, but I just, for an estimate, I would say a year.
Okay. Okay, well, it just gives us,
Now, because you have the grant doesn't mean it's ready to build. In the case of both Kimberly and Trafford, we had to make changes. We changed the entire design of the Kimberly safe room to that monolithic dome. And also we requested more money, which was, ultimately approved. They got approval within 4 or 5 months. I submitted Trafford months before the Kimberly one. They still haven't received approval. And it's been over a year now, and I keep on asking them, what's the status, and I don't get answers. So if you make any changes to the original application, the original grant award, you might have to go through a change, what they call a change in the scope of work, and that could really drag it out. So even if it's a small change. So if we have a good concept plan up front and you don't expect any changes and you know it's going to be right on this property over here, I think that would move it along better if you don't change your mind.
okay.
We had all the survey, didn't we? So
Yeah.
we know.
Yeah, he's got a copy of it.
That really helps us to have a survey, because we didn't have a survey in Kimberly. We just got it last week. And do you have a septic system here, disposal?
Here, but nothing over there in the proposed site. We have we've got a drain over there, but that's it.
No, I mean, you have a septic tank here then for this?
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a septic tank out there.
Okay, it probably would need to be modified, but.
Modified or probably a new system, because it only has this single restroom going into it, so.
Yeah, you're gonna have more capacity,
Mhm.
so it probably would need to be added on to. And you don't have gas, because I saw your propane tank out there.
Yeah, propane right now, although we don't use any propane any longer in this building.
Okay.
It's all electric.
You don't have to have gas, I just noticed that,
Yeah,
and you have electric here, so.
yeah, we have it for emergencies in this heater here, but we haven't used it in 7 years that we've been in office.
And, I mean, your choices would be to tear down this building and put it in this place. Then while you're doing the construction, you don't have a city hall, but we
Right.
can build another one and then tear this one down after the other one's already constructed. Or you can keep them both. You can keep this. FEMA's not gonna obligate you to keep using this building or not. It's your choice whether you want to tear it down if you had a new building next door to it. That's
Well,
not part of the grant application.
Yeah, it's a bridge we can cross at a later time.
Right. There's a lot of thinking to be doing, or planning to be doing. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody's?
Any questions?
You
Cecil?
mentioned your architect, could you share his name with us?
Yeah, his name's Robert Polk. He's out of Jackson, Mississippi, but he's licensed in Alabama.
Okay.
And we had problems with the previous architect we used in Fultondale and used him in Brookside. He was working with me on Trafford and Kimberly, but he's no longer with. He's been replaced. He did, and he was that other architect also was working on the McDonald Youth Center in Tuscaloosa, was replaced by them. And that's where I ran into Robert, who just took over that project, was doing an outstanding job. I said, I've got some small communities in Jefferson County, if you're going to help. So he came out to took on the Trafford and Kimberly project. And when I got this, I contacted him and said, of course I'll help. So he does good work, I think. You have to have an architect that's experienced in these safety designs. Yeah. And he's working closely with the structural engineer and his engineering team, but mostly the structural engineer, because it has to be designed to withstand 250 mile per hour winds. And there's a FEMA manual, design and construction standards manual you've got to meet. So your architect needs to be familiar with that. I'm familiar with it, but I'm not an architect, so I try to stay out of the design things, except I help brainstorm on concepts, that's all I do.
You're more of a planner.
I'm a planner, that's my occupation.
You mentioned, or it seemed like I heard somebody mention you've done some work with Mountain Brook.
Right, yeah,
You worked with Sam Gaston some?
yeah, I know Sam,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I know
Of course,
Sam for
Mayor
years.
McConaughey from Brookside.
Yeah,
Lowry
yeah.
from Fultondale, and,
Yeah, all that.
yeah.
But you were with the Jefferson County, right,
Yeah.
Sam? Yeah. And I used to work close with the Jefferson County EMA. I may have run into you.
Actually, you have, I was part of the EOC Center,
Okay, so,
on the
yeah.
roads and transportation side of things.
Okay, I was in the planning department of the city, so I was on the planning team, so I have to spend the night there sometimes. It's, so you know, we're the same people, yeah. The Mountain Brook project was not a safe room. It was the largest project I've ever done. FEMA said they never fund a project that large. It was a $10 million project. The city of Mountain Brook got $7.5 million in federal money. It's, this McDonald Hughes thing is $2.7 million. So, but theirs was real tricky because it was just going right through the heart of Mountain Brook Village, you know, from the zoo, from the old Shades Creek High School property through the zoo and then down all the way along that branch of Shades Creek, all the way down to Shades Creek. So it was a tricky project and expensive.
Have you seen in your processes where, and I'll use us as an example, it's county line, we've already got a commitment from one Jefferson County commissioner to set aside $100,000. And that is in this budget year, this fiscal year, and next year they'll set aside additional funds if we can get them to allocate more. And the process of taking 2 or so years to ever get something out of the ground, have you seen where a small town like this has been able to get maybe 2 allotments from a county government to put towards their application and their fees?
No, I haven't seen that. And the ones that, a lot of the ones in Tuscaloosa County, the Tuscaloosa County Commission put in some funds, but it was a one-time. I think in this big one in McDonald Hughes Center, it's not the county commission, it's the city of Tuscaloosa that's put in, I think, $880,000 in that project. And yeah, that came in over multiple years because the original one was less, but then the project cost went up over time. And then they also, there's, if you want, I should have mentioned this, if you want to do things like that aren't part of the safe room function, but are part of a city hall function, like carpeting, or if you want to have a little kitchen area and everything, that's at your own expense. But you could use county funds for those purposes, possibly. But the FEMA won't pay for anything other than what's absolutely necessary for the function of that building as a safe room. Okay. So that's something you got to keep in mind.
In your design processes, I was curious when we talked about not using gas, what is your backup power for the safe rooms? You use diesel generators of some kind, or?
You can have generators, but what we've been doing is, the problem with the generators is, again, they're expensive and you may not ever have use them. So you can do what they call a passive ventilation system, because it's a ventilation system that needs to be backed up. Yeah, and you can also have battery backup lights.
Sure.
Things like that. So you can, and then you can have louvered openings that will withstand the 250-mile-per-hour winds. And that's what we've been doing. That's what's being done here in this McDonald Hughes Center. They're not going to have a generator there because something like that, it would have been really expensive.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have a generator. You can opt for that. It is something you can have, but as far as whether it would ever be used or not, I mean, it's a question I have.
Well, then it's a maintenance item as well.
Right, it's maintenance, yeah. We, in one of the Fultondale ones, we did a battery UPS system.
Yep.
Have you ever heard of that? They're
Yes.
just a big, they look like car batteries. There's like
Big mega batteries.
Yeah, well, they only last for 5 years, so they had to face replacing those, and they decided not to. What they did, they just got a conventional generator, a gas power generator. Mayor Lowry there wanted to have generators, and both those safe rooms, so they have generators. But you don't have to.
The generators are nice, but they are a continuing maintenance issue.
Yeah.
I found that out after building my house with, they have a generator.
Oh, you did, yeah. I just thought about it even last week, do I need to have a generator? But the last time I would have had to use one was back in that storm of, what,
93.
93 storm. That's the only time that I've ever had a need, and that's been 26 years ago, right? Yeah.
We had a little Honda generator, I think, back then, didn't we?
Fireplace.
Well, I was without power for about 7 days in Pinson, or Clay area. After that, what storm was it? It blew through here back in the,
2011 or 98?
no, it was around 2005, 2006.
Oh, April 8th, 2008?
Yeah, something like that. It was right before we came up here. Well, no, it was before we built up here, and we built up here in 2007. But before that,
Dates like that stick out in your mind when you've been in the EOC.
Yeah.
Worked in because
Yeah.
they're major life changing events, you know.
Yeah.
it was remnants of some hurricane. It made it all the way up here, knocked power out, and we were. I told my wife, I said, if we ever build a house, we'll have a generator. And I've used that generator about 3 times in 12 years. But it turns on every month.
Is that UPS battery, is that a large, piece similar to what we use like on the computers for the computer?
It's
In
well,
case power goes off?
well, that one is yeah, it's sort of like that, except.
That's a small
But
version.
the battery pack for the Fulton one is as big as that office right there.
Oh my,
Yeah, it's huge.
Big bank of batteries.
that would be expensive to replace.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's why they chose not to replace them and decided to go just with a, I think they put a generator in with hooked up to a natural gas line.
It depends on the function of the building and what kind of power backup you really want. But that, the passive ventilation would be sufficient for most safe rooms because they're just for short durations for the most part.
Yeah, and then your lighting is the main thing you want, but you can get battery backup in the lights, and they're LED lights, so they don't take a lot of power.
Too much.
Yeah, and you said that you thought you could get this grant and cover most expenses on it.
I cover all expenses, so I work it out so it is covered.
So it is covered, okay.
Yeah, so I make it so you don't have to put cash in.
Okay.
You're basically saying if you can get a 2,500 square foot for the grant.
I'm just off the top of my
I
head.
understand, but I mean, just using that as a number, if you could get a 2,500 square foot for the monies that the town has gotten already
Right.
promised to them and the grant money and a little bit,
And the in-kind for the land value
Right.
and the value of.
then that's what you would shoot for and that's what you would design.
Right, what I would do is put together a budget, and then I'd have a line item for construction. And give that to the architect, and he'll tell me how many square feet we can get. I'd back into it.
Right.
That's how we would do it, so we try to get you, provided you have to go through this thing called a benefit cost analysis. That's, for every dollar of money you spend, you're getting a benefit of more than $1. And the way they measure that is loss of life. They put a dollar value on people's lives that are lost in a tornado. So anyway, it's just a number. It doesn't mean that people lose. You don't have to.
It doesn't mean that your life is worth X number of dollars. That's
No, well, I mean, according to the formula, it is.
okay.
It really isn't, but that's what they use. And that's why if you have a lot of potential loss of life in your community from tornadoes, then your benefit cost is gonna go up quite a bit. But I would need to make sure that we don't overspend, because you gotta have, the stronger that benefit cost ratio, because we're competing nationwide, the better your chances are of getting funded. If we have the benefit cost ratio of just 2, that's not too good. But if it's 12, I mean, that's really good. So you have to temper that thing to use, to try to get as much money as possible with what's going to make your application competitive.
Okay. Any other questions for him?
So, do we need to make, is there something that needs to be said in the meeting tonight about the resolution that we're gonna be needing to do?
Yeah, I gave you the notes, and the mayor will put together a resolution, and probably you want to have something, I'll tell you what it is. I might require a letter from the mayor to give to the state authorizing me to represent you in the application. There won't be any contract because I'm not being paid. Contract won't come until you're funded, if you're funded.
If we're funded and we're allowed to move forward with the project, you have a set fee that you charge.
It'll be in the application, it's whatever FEMA approves.
I got you.
It's
It's normally,
either 5 or 6% of the total
it's
project
normally a little
cost.
less than 7, if I remember right.
I think they may have put a cap of 5, it used to be 6%, but I think they capped it at 5%. The PDN may be different.
Sure.
But then the architect fees are typically like 8% or something like that.
Those funds that you're seeking, will they cover the cost of the project managers at some point in time if you're able to move the project forward, or will you be fulfilling that role?
I would be fulfilling that role as a project manager, but I don't do construction management. That's the architect who does that.
Okay, he'll be fulfilling that as his
Right.
portion.
And then the other thing is, you're gonna have people here that are gonna keep an eye on the contractors. If we need it, I can get additional in-kind credit for your time. I've done that on the small ones, but I think with the county commission funding, you don't need to do that. I don't like to do all those time sheets, but you can do that.
If you've ever done FEMA, you're used to them, aren't you?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, anyway, that's the way it works, but the idea would be to do it at no cost to the town,
Sure.
but still make it, don't apply for so much funds that it brings down that benefit cost ratio. I need to keep that strong. So, whether we go for 500,000 or 200,000, I don't know, but I have to work the numbers. But I'll be in, communication with the mayor. Because in the end, he's the one that I can't submit the application, only he can. And there's something you gotta do to register, and I'll give you instructions on how to do that.
Okay. All right.
So do we need to vote giving you permission to do this work?
We'll have to drop a resolution to do that, and then we'll do that. I make, get the attorney to draw it up and make sure it meets everything that we need. And
I should mention this, we don't have to submit this tomorrow. The deadline is October 31st, but I wanna get it started as quickly as possible so that, we can submit it, have it ready before the deadline. Because there are no exceptions,
October what?
31st.
31st. Okay. All right.
So, once you write the resolution up, then we would have to vote on
Yeah.
it? So.
Yeah. I can't. I don't have a resolution to present tonight, so we'll have to wait
Okay.
until it's ready, and then we'll,
Call a special meeting?
if need be.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because you got plenty of time to get the resolution, because that's part of the application, but.
And we could do it at next month's meeting, since we meet early in the month.
Yeah,
So,
sounds
Yeah.
good.
any other questions or comments for Mr. Lee? Okay. We appreciate it very much, and
And I'll get to learn your names. I didn't meet you before the meeting. You're
this is Myrtle Van Cleet,
Van Cleef, okay.
Eugene Kiley,
Brenda
Brenda Lowe,
You're Brenda Lowe? Okay.
John King.
John King, okay.
and Steve Brewer.
Steve Brewer, okay. Your website has pictures of everybody, so I'll study the pictures.
With the exception of John. John's not up there, and I got to get his
Okay.
picture.
Yeah, you had one pass away recently,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I saw
Mr.
that.
Philpott.
Yeah, it's good to have that website, though. That's really helpful.
It's not much, but it's ours.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, thanks for inviting me here.
Yes, we
Well,
appreciate what you're doing for us.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
really do.
No, I live close to the Galleria.
Oh,
It's
my.
gonna take me almost an hour to get home.
Yeah.
But
Just don't drive like I drive.
We really appreciate
Thank
you.
you for coming.
I'm gonna go through Tanner. Is that the quickest way?
Yes,
Yes.
Probably.
yeah.
Again, we appreciate you coming and providing the information for us. And I'll be back in touch with you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Don't want to lose his.
Maybe we will get ready to go.
All right. Let me write down his information. I'm bad about misplacing business cards. I'll write it down. Okay, all right. Got that to take care of. Okay, let's continue on, and no reading of petitions, but I do have a resolution pertaining to Rebuild Alabama. It's a resolution number 2019-001. I'll go ahead and read it out. Town of County Line, Alabama, Rebuild Alabama Motor Fund Act Plan. Whereas in accordance with the Rebuild Alabama Motor Fuel Act, the Town of County Line, Alabama, is required to submit an annual transportation plan describing how County Line intends to use the estimated revenues obtained from the Rebuild Alabama Motor Fuel Act. And whereas the Town of County Line, Alabama, is projected to receive $9,466 during the fiscal year 2020, and whereas the Town of County Line, Alabama, anticipates depositing the funds received in an escrow account for the amount to accrue to a manageable amount to complete road work improvements, repairs, resurfacing, reconstruction, or maintenance at a later date on the most necessary roadways. Now and therefore be it resolved by the Town of County Line, the Town Council of the Town of County Line, Alabama, that it adopts this fiscal year 2020 Town of County Line, Alabama Transportation Plan to be executed in its name and on behalf of by the Mayor and Town Clerk on this 9th day of September 2019. Approved and adopted this the 9th day of September 2019. It's a necessary item that we have to do every year to be in compliance with the Rebuild Alabama Motor Fuel Tax Act. So, any questions or comments? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the resolution number 2019-001?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All right, Steve makes a motion, Eugene seconded, all in favor? All right, motion carried. I'll go ahead and sign this copy, Lucy, and give it to you. All right. Separated minutes. All right, I was hoping to have, an ordinance for the Blount County subdivision regulations, but I don't have it tonight. I haven't gotten it from the attorney, but I know he was working on it, and I have not been in touch with him this week, so he may have had it ready, I just didn't get it. So, we'll carry that over until next month. All right, I'll open it up for public comments and questions in just a moment. Well, let's go ahead and complete the town's business. Do we have any questions or comments from the public in attendance? Okay, if not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
I do this.
Myrtle made the motion to adjourn, seconded by Brenda. All in favor? That motion carried. This meeting is adjourned, but if you would hold on just a minute, we've got one thing I want to say to everybody. Since we have completed the town's business, this meeting has been adjourned.
Okay.
Okay?